I started embracing my masculinity about a year ago when I first started Mount St. Mary's. Um, and why I did it then was just because this is the first time that I felt I was in a community that would be supportive, and not supportive at least, wouldn't discriminate against me for kind of embracing a more masculine aura. I also started embracing it just because I generally gravitated towards being more masculine all my life. I always preferred to dress kind of more like a guy, and it was more comfortable. And then after I started doing it for about like 6 months, it actually became more of a social or political statement, if you will, just about condemning the gender binary. And I wanted to ex- say that like I could still be a female while completely embracing what society dictated were masculine qualities. I express my masculinity in a variety of ways, and to a certain extent on different days, but the biggest way I express my masculinity is probably in how I dress. I shop in men's departments. I like a lot of button-downs, looser jeans, like combat boots, tennis shoes, never like heels or dresses or anything. I like my hair short. And in relationships, that's another way I express my masculinity. I definitely take on what I guess would be perceived as more masculine roles in my relationships. Um, I like the idea of chivalry and being a chivalrous partner to my girlfriend, and yeah, being a gentleman, I guess. The fact that I am this way does it has a pretty substantial effect on my relationships in work, familial relationships, and the relationship I have with my partner. Um, at work is probably the most difficult place to navigate. The fact that I am a more masculine lesbian, but also more masculine female. Studying to be a nurse, so that's already a career field in which it's expected for women to be holding that position, and then coming in as a masculine lesbian, it's difficult to navigate. There's this perception that women should be a little bit more timid or sweet, and I am definitely more assertive when it comes to interacting with my coworkers, and a lot of the people, the models I have in the workplace are all male models. That's who I aspire to be. Um, in my relationships, familial relationships, um, it are pretty affected by it. Yeah, and my relationship with my girlfriend is affected pretty significantly by it. I do tend to surround myself a lot with masculine lesbians in particular. The reason for doing this is just simply it's easier to relate to people who are kind of similar to me in this respect. It's a big part of my life being a masculine lesbian, and I find that it's important to me to find people that I can relate to. There's a lot of discrimination that I experience out in the real world, I guess, and not inside the safe, comfortable, accepting bubble of Mount St. Mary's. And so I like being surrounded by lesbians like myself that are experiencing the same things. And also there's the added benefit of like, we share clothes. The biggest struggles I face are probably interact my relationships with my family, and then also navigating, I guess, the social waters of being out in the real world where there aren't very many masculine lesbians, or I don't find them very often, and oftentimes people don't know how to react or how to treat me. And honestly, my hope is that I'm treated no differently, but that I'm respected completely as a female, but just as a female that embraces masculinity. But it's difficult with my family, particularly my mother, who doesn't understand, appreciate, or accept in any way the fact that I I tend to gravitate more towards masculine traits, masculine clothes. She grew up with me, putting me in dresses, like doing my hair, very cute, and now my hair's all gone. I dress like a guy, and that's how I'm comfortable. And so that's very taxing on my relationship with her, and we struggle with that on a daily basis. So that's difficult.
I started embracing my masculinity probably at an early age. Like, instead of being inside with my mom, I was outside in the garage a lot with my dad. We would build things together, and we would watch, like, sports all together, and he would play sports with me when I was small. Like, he got me my own little golf set, and we would always go out golfing. And I don't know, I was just always more attached to my dad than my mom, so I think that kind of showed me that I was different. And then when I got to college is when I really started making like a change in my appearance. My I cut off my hair and I had a mohawk and I started dressing different. I would say I started embracing it because I started talking more to new people and telling them about myself, and they just were really supportive in my ideas that I felt more boyish than girl-ish. So, like my first roommate in college, she's the one that took me out and we bought a bunch of new clothes for me. I just went with it, and now that's just how I am all around. I would say I express my masculinity in chivalrous ways, like opening doors for people and paying for the check and being strong and things like that when people need it or anything like that. In the aspect of work, it would affect my relationships because all my coworkers call me Bobby, and that's just how I came introduced to them because my other friends had already started calling me Bobby because they're all. It started because one of my friends was like, "You're not a girl, you're a boy," and I was like, "Okay." They started calling me Bobby, and everybody just caught on to it. So at work, I always do like things one of my male coworkers would do, like, and I'm really close to a lot of my male coworkers. So when we go out, they're all like, "Oh yeah, Bobby's my boy, boys' night out, let's go have fun," things like that. And it just makes me really comfortable, as opposed to uncomfortable. As they would be like, "Oh, Rachel, let's go out," and I'm like, "Who's that?" I don't know if I would surround myself with other masculine females. I definitely hang out with a few, but as opposed to their masculinity and mine, I feel like I just take masculinity to another level. So I wouldn't say that I'm uncomfortable around them, but like the ones I don't know, it's like a typical male thing. You guys look at each other the wrong way, or get some kind of bad feeling. You just aren't interested in getting to know them. So I just feel like that happens a lot, especially because of the fact that I don't feel like a masculine lesbian. I feel more just like a straight boy in the wrong body. I would say one of the biggest struggles I face is like going to a public place and going into the women's restroom because I kind of have to. Because for them, it's like a shock. Something you can't tell right away if I'm dressed how I dressed that I'm a girl. So they look at me and it's like, "Why are you in here?" or something like that. Like there was this one instance where I really had to pee, and I went to the closest restroom, and yeah, of course, the women's restroom had a line like out the door around the corner down the street. So I just like went into the men's restroom, and it just felt like natural. Nobody gave me a weird look, I guess, because they weren't paying attention. So yeah, I come off as looking like a male. As opposed to other things, like I wouldn't say I'm discriminated against. Another struggle has been probably my family accepting the way that I started dressing and how I was, but after after some time, they warmed up to everything, and especially my grandma, because at first when I came home all hair cut off, different clothes. It was a big shock to her because well, she's old, so that wasn't something that she was used to. But now it's fine, and she loves me for how I am.
I started embracing my masculinity in college. Once I moved into college, it was a lot easier for me to express myself because I did not have to follow my parents' rules, and I was able to just figure myself out by myself without no one telling me what to do. One of the many ways I express my masculinity is by the way I dress. I dress in boys' clothes. um, that's how I feel like I could express myself a lot more. I feel more comfortable. And another way is by chivalry. I treat my girlfriends, feminine girls, with respect, same way as I was raised to be treated. But this time I treat my females in that way. The way I am does not affect my interactions with friends because they are my friends for a reason. They accept me for who I am and what I am. My family, they're okay, they're comfortable with the way I dress. They're still growing to be comfortable with my sexual orientation. At work, as soon as I came out to my coworkers, it's been a lot easier for me to express myself, so it's not a problem. School is where I found myself. So that was the easiest way for me to express myself, so there was no problem in school as well. When I first started becoming more masculine, there was a problem surrounding myself with masculine females for the fact that they see competition. A lot of masculine females are competitive. I'm not one of them. I do have a few that are also masculine females that are close friends of mine, and we stay close because we use ourselves as support systems. We don't see each other as competition. One of the biggest struggles I face is clothing. It's hard for me to find clothing. I like using boys' clothes. Another struggle I have is professional interviews, job interviews. Sometimes I don't know how to dress because I don't want them to see me as, oh, the lesbian. No, I want to be looked upon as professional. And I struggle whether to wear girl clothes or boy clothes. And I don't feel comfortable with women clothes, and I want to be comfortable in my interviews. So now I've learned to be comfortable with wearing and embracing what I wear. The way I deal with it is basically living life without thinking about it too much. I live my life because it's my life, so whatever other person thinks about it, that's their thought. At the end of the day, they're not living my life.